Okay, I want you to picture something. Forget everything you think you know about Abraham the patriarch. Instead, imagine him standing on the edge of reality itself. And stretching out before him isn't a desert, but the entire inhabited world, laid out like a living, breathing blueprint of pure energy. You can see these radiant lines of force pulsing, all extending from one single, impossibly bright point at the center of everything. The stars aren't just lights, they're nodes in this vast cosmic computer. This is the vision. This is Abraham, not as a shepherd, but as the world's first cosmic cartographer, about to begin the greatest intellectual quest of all time.
So let's dive right into the text that kicks this whole thing off. It's from the Zohar, the heart of Kabbalistic wisdom. And it says, God gave Abraham a spirit of wisdom. Now, this is so much more than just making him smarter. The original Aramaic is Ruach Chochmah. Think of it like a divine tool, a new kind of perception that let him see past the surface of things and into the hidden mechanics of reality. This was the key that unlocked his whole journey.
And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? What do you do when you're handed that kind of gift? It's one thing to suddenly be able to perceive the universe on this whole other level, but it's another thing entirely to know what to do with it. And Abraham, well, he didn't just sit around and marvel. He got to work. He set out on a mission to map the unmappable and to literally understand the structure of reality itself. So here's the roadmap for our deep dive today. First, we're going to unpack what this spirit of wisdom actually is. Then we'll follow Abraham's exact steps as he starts mapping the cosmic grid. After that, we'll get into the secret architecture he discovered, the Sefirot. We'll see him push his intellect to its absolute limit at the unknowable center point, and then witness the game-changing moment of revelation. And finally, we'll bring it all home and see how this ancient map can actually help us navigate our own lives.
All right, so let's get into it. What exactly was this spirit of wisdom? Look, it's way more than just book smarts. The best way to think about it is like a divine operating system upgrade for his consciousness. You and I, we have the standard 5 senses, but after this gift, Abraham got a totally new sense. He could perceive the hidden forces, the spiritual currents that are flowing underneath the surface of absolutely everything.
Let's break down the term itself, because the words are so important. Ruach is Hebrew for spirit, or wind, or breath. You know, that unseen force that animates things. And Chochmah is wisdom. But it's not like knowing a bunch of facts. It's that raw, lightning-in-a-bottle flash of pure insight. So Ruach Chochmah is the ability to see the blueprint of the cosmos. It's like being able to read the source code running behind the reality we see every day. This is what turned him from just a man of faith into a master surveyor of the divine. And Abraham doesn't waste a second. He immediately puts this new OS to work. He becomes that cosmic cartographer we talked about. And this wasn't some fuzzy, mystical wandering. The Zohar is super clear that he followed a rigorous, almost scientific process. He's on a methodical quest to chart the spiritual geography of existence. His method was incredible. It was a 3-step process. First, he would contemplate. He would perceive the unique spiritual signature of every part of the world, the distinct energies of north, south, east, and west. Second, he would weigh these forces. He'd put them on a kind of metaphysical scale to measure their exact influence, their potency. This was about precision. And finally, he would combine all of his data, and that's when he saw it. All these separate forces were actually part of one giant, unified system. So, through this whole process, contemplating, weighing, combining, he starts tracing all these lines of force back to their single source. And everything, absolutely everything, converges on what the Zohar calls the Nokuda Emsayata, the center point. This is it, the ultimate nexus, the singularity from which the entire grid of reality extends. And figuring this point out, well, that became the new focus of his entire quest. So what was this system? What was this cosmic grid he was mapping? Well, in Kabbalah, this secret architecture is known as the Tree of Life, and it's made up of 10 divine emanations called the Sefirot. Just think of them as the fundamental archetypes, or the divine attributes that the infinite creator uses to interact with our world. This was the blueprint he was slowly uncovering. Okay, this slide breaks down the key parts of his map. It all kicks off with Chochmah, which is represented by pure white light. This is that raw flash of divine insight we talked about, pure potential. Then, that raw energy flows into Bina, which is blue. Bina gives that flash of insight structure and form. If Chochmah is the idea, Bina is the blueprint. Connecting them is Dot, which is invisible because it's about synthesis. It's where insight becomes actual applied knowledge. From there, the energy flows down to Tiferet, green, which is the core of the system, balancing everything in harmony.
And it all culminates in Malchut, black, which represents the kingdom, our physical manifest world. It's the final output of this entire cosmic engine. This chart gives you a pretty good visual of that flow. You can see how the energy just cascades down. From that pure white potential of Chochmah through the blue structure of Bina, it gets harmonized by green Tiferet, and finally, it's grounded in the black reality of Malchut. And see that section marked Other? That represents what are called the unseen paths, the channels this divine energy flows through. Abraham wasn't just finding points on a map, he was charting the superhighways that connected them. And what's amazing is that this whole cosmology is deeply mathematical. It's elegant. It starts with one, that single unknowable center point where it all begins. From there, you get the 4 cardinal directions of force that Abraham measured. Those 4 forces provide the structure for the 10 divine Sefirot we just looked at. And connecting those 10 points? 32 paths of wisdom, this intricate web that makes the whole universe work together. It's not random, it's not chaos. It is a deeply ordered divine architecture. But this is where the narrative takes a huge, dramatic turn. Abraham, the master cartographer, has done it. He has reversed engineered the entire cosmos. He's followed every single path back to its origin, and it has all led him right back to that one center point. And as he stands there before the source of literally everything, he hits a wall, a hard stop. And the Zohar is so explicit about this. After all of that work, he, quote, contemplated the power of that point, but was unable to know it. His spirit of wisdom, this incredible gift, had taken him right to the edge of the ultimate mystery, but it couldn't get him in the door. The source was deep and hidden. And here's the profound secret. His intellect hit its absolute limit, not because he wasn't smart enough, but because of a fundamental rule of reality. The created mind cannot fully grasp its uncreated source. It was a boundary he could not cross on his own. This is the sod, the great secret of the whole story. And honestly, the best way to get it is with a modern analogy. Think of Abraham as the greatest system administrator in the world. He's used his wisdom to map the entire network of creation. He's traced every connection. He's identified every single node. He's even found the core mainframe server. That's the center point. But when he tries to log in to see the source code, he gets a message, access denied. He has the complete map, but he does not have the root password. So what do you do when you get a cosmic access denied? You can't hack it. You can't brute force your way in. Access has to be granted by the original designer, and that's Abraham's breakthrough moment. What his intellect couldn't achieve on its own had to be given to him through revelation.
And this is where we have to completely reread one of the most famous lines in the Bible, the call of Lech Lecha, go forth. It's not just about a physical trip. It is the divine invitation. God doesn't say, go to the land you'll figure out how to get to. He says, go to the land that I will show you. That one word, show, that's everything. That is the divine password. That is God granting Abraham the elevated credentials, the root access, that he could never have earned on his own. He's finally being let in.
Okay, so we followed this incredible, epic, ancient journey. But what does it mean for us right now? How can this cosmic map help us navigate our own reality? Let's try to lock it in with 2 modern analogies that I think really help.
So for anyone who thinks in terms of systems or engineering, this is the cosmic engineering analogy. Abraham basically did the ultimate teardown of reality. He started with the user interface, that's our physical world, Malchut, and he worked his way all the way back up the stack. He analyzed the processing layers of Tiferet and Binah. He had the complete system schematic, a perfect blueprint. But to get into the core kernel, the fundamental operating system at the center point, he needed direct permission, elevated credentials from the original designer. Or, if that's not your world, think of it like this, the video game analogy. Abraham is the ultimate gamer. He's a 100% completionist playing the open world game of reality. He has explored every corner of the map, he's unlocked every single fast travel point, and he has mastered the game's core mechanics. That's the Sefirot. He knows how it all works. And he finally gets to the door of the final boss chamber, the source itself. But it's locked. And it's not a puzzle he can solve. It's a story-gated progression. The door will only open when the game's developer triggers a key, unmissable story event, and that event is Lech Lecha. And really, this brings the whole epic journey right back to our own lives. Abraham was given a tool to map the cosmos, but every single one of us lives inside our own personal cosmos, and it's governed by unseen forces too, our habits, our beliefs, our relationships. So the final question becomes, how do you start mapping the forces that are shaping your world? What's your center point?
And what do you do when you reach the absolute limit of what your own mind can show you?
Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.